Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I know I am super late on this, but I think the waiting game actually worked out for this, because if I would have done a video on this when just the Batsuit photos came out, then I would have had to do a separate video. But since I waited, then they revealed the Batmobile, which we'll talk about later. But like the first half of it, we're just going to talk about the Batsuit photos, and then the second half will be the Batmobile with, I know Batman's in it, but it's mostly the Batmobile that gets the attention. So, of course, we all know about the little teaser or whatever, the test footage, and it's a very dark red tint in that video, and of course that started getting people saying that it reminds them of Daredevil, which I will admit, I mean, because of the red, obviously, but then also because, the cowl kind of looks like it. So, and from this point of view right here, I don't really have a problem with it. I think the only thing that, I don't know if I necessarily have a problem with it, but it's just something I'm going to have to get used to, is that collar. I think that collar looks a little weird, but other than that, I don't have a problem with the suit. Now, in this photo, obviously it doesn't show the ears, and we'll show that later. And I mean, overall, I do really like the suit. I do. I know there's people that are upset and it looks cheap and stuff like that. But I just need to remind you that this is only his second year fighting crime. He's basically still a rookie. You really think he's going to have all of his cool tools right away? No, he's not. So, and of course, everyone's wondering if Lucius Fox is going to be in this, and why people are asking that is because in most cases, when Batman gets all of his stuff, it's usually from Lucius Fox. So if Lucius Fox isn't in this, then that's going to lead us to believe that everything that he has, like his Batsuit, his Batmobile, all of his gadgets, he makes himself, which I think is a lot cooler, honestly, instead of having everybody else do his work. So, but as I mentioned, I do like the cowl. Of course, it shows the chin quite a bit. The cape is really good. The armor looks really great, in my opinion, because it reminds me of Arkham Knight, and there will be a better pick in a second. And then, like I said, the only thing that kind of is bothering me right now, but I'll probably grow to it, is the collar. So, I don't know. I think as of now, that's the only thing that looks weird. But other than that, I think that this photo right here looks great. Now, here is another angle of the Batsuit, which of course it shows the bat symbol. As I mentioned previously, the armor looks amazing in my opinion. It's probably the best that I've seen. It looks like it's very mobile, because that's been a problem with the Batsuits in the past, is that they just don't look very mobile, right? I just feel like with this suit, it looks very mobile, and as I mentioned previously, it reminds me of Arkham Knight. It's got that type of armor going along with it. Now, people are wondering, with the bat symbol, people are wondering if those are, or if that is the gun that killed Bruce's parents, or if it's like a batarang or some type of gadget. In my opinion, I kind of hope it's just a gadget. I really don't want it to be like the gun that killed Bruce's parents, because I don't know. I just don't think that that's really cool or anything. So I highly doubt that it is. To me, it does look like it's more like a gadget. But then again, I can understand why people could say it's the gun that killed his parents, because if you look like towards like the center, for example, and then you go out, like the bottom of it, it looks like the clip part of it. So, maybe it is a gun, or it is the gun, but I kind of hope that it isn't. I don't know. I just don't dig that at all. I just think that it is going to be a gadget. And like I said, in this photo, it really shows the armor, which, like I said, I really enjoy, because it reminds me a lot of Arkham Knight, which is probably one of the better Batsuits out there. And the biggest thing for me, as I mentioned, is that it just looks really mobile, because to me, that's always been my problem with some of the movies, is that the suits do not look mobile at all. I kind of like how in the Dark Knight trilogy, they kind of pointed that out, because in like the Dark Knight, he mentions that his suit in Batman Begins, it was hard to maneuver in or whatever. So I like that they, brought that up. Now, here is a way better image of the Batsuit, and that, of course, is without the red filter. I know there are photos out there without the red filter of the previous photos, but it's like, screw it. And I will also mention that I know there are other photos out there, but I'm being very careful with which ones I choose, because I know if I choose certain ones out there, I think the video will get taken down. So I'm just choosing the ones that are officially released. I know this one is a set leak, but I've seen other people do it, and they're fine. So, but all these other ones are officially released photos. Now, as I mentioned, of course, this is a very good look at the Batsuit. And people have pointed out, like, in the eye area, it looks like goggles, for example. People have wondered if that's going to be something they do in post where they add the white eyes. Like I said, me personally, I would not like the white eyes. I really wouldn't. I just think that would look weird and too cartoonish on the big screen. So, especially with this suit, I mean, it kind of worked in Batman v Superman, but I feel like with this suit, I don't know. I just couldn't see it. I just think it's to protect the stunt double, because obviously that's not Robert Pattinson. I just think it's to protect the stunt double when they're doing stunts, because it's raining. They don't want the rain getting in their eyes and messing them up. So, now, of course, you can also see how the suit, stays all together, how it connects together, which I really like that. I will admit the padding looks a little bit like BMX, but that's fine. Like I said, it's year 2. He's still basically a rookie. Another look at the bat symbol, which like I said, I hope it's gadgets, not the gun. And the collar is still growing on me. I will admit, when I first saw it, I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But the more I see it, the more it is growing on me. And of course, we finally get to see the ears, the most important part of the Batsuit by far. Of course, I'm being a little sarcastic, but hey, maybe it is. The ears of the Batman cowl. So it's kind of a medium ears, It's not too short and stubby like some are, and it's not the super long ones like from the Arkham games. It's kind of in the middle, which I like that. I mean, I can kind of understand why they didn't want to go the long route, because that would kind of look a little ridiculous. But then again, he could use it to his advantage. If he wants to stab people, he could have done it. Then again, I guess those could stab people too. So who knows? All right, now this is where it gets very, very interesting, because as if the Batsuit reveal didn't already have, a 50-50 response or whatever you want to say, people fighting online about it. This is where people really started fighting online, and that is, of course, with the Batmobile and with these very awesome photos. And they almost look like they're Nolan, almost like Nolan because of the yellow. Now, me personally, I actually really love this Batmobile. And I'll tell you why. Because me personally, I am getting sick and tired of like the tank aspect of the Batmobile. I was never really a fan of that. Because like in the Dark Knight trilogy, I didn't really like how it was basically a tank. And then in BVS, it was like, I wouldn't say it was really a tank in BVS, but like it had a lot of weapons. So I didn't really like that either. I'm not saying this won't have weapons. It probably will, but not to the extent of the one in the DCEU. I actually like this Batmobile a lot because it's very simple, okay? Because, I mean, once again, year 2, he's a rookie. He's not going to have everything yet, especially if Lucius Fox isn't in this. He's probably not going to have all of his fancy toys, because in most stories, that's where he gets all of his fancy toys. So I know there's people joking about how it's like, oh, it's like Fast and Furious, where's Vin Diesel? It's like, okay, I know that's pretty funny, but in all honesty, when I saw this for the first time, the first thing that it reminded me of is the Batman Telltale series. Granted, there are probably some comics out there or some other type of media out there where there's a Batmobile that looks like this, but to me, the first thing I think of is the Batman Telltale games. So, and we kind of heard that this is what they were going to do anyways, because Matt Reeves posted a photo of the Adam West Batmobile, so we kind of had a feeling he was going to take inspiration from that. And of course he did, and we heard it was going to be a muscle car, and there it is. Because for the most part, it looks just like a normal muscle car, except for the back. That's where it looks like it's very fun, And I can't really tell if it has the booster or not. I'm pretty sure it does. It looks like it does. And I really love the red. The red looks so good. And to me, I think the main reason I honestly love this is because it's more of a stealthy Batmobile, right? Because if he was driving around in his tank like in the other movies, it's like, it's going to be obvious when people see him, right? I get that it can be a fear tactic, but at the same time, it's like you kind of want to be stealthy at times. And of course, since we've heard that Batman in this movie is going to be more of a detective, stealthy, stuff like that, then this makes perfect sense instead of him driving around in a huge tank that would be noticed from a mile away. Now here's a better look at the back, as I mentioned previously. And you can see Batman's walking towards it at the top of the photo. And yeah, it does look like he has the booster, which is awesome, of course, because that's something that the Batmobile is notorious for, is the booster. And as I mentioned, basically like the front half of it looks very basic, it just looks like a normal muscle car. But man, when you get to the back, that's where all the fun stuff is. And the red looks so good. I really love the red. And it looks like there's an insane engine. I don't even know if that is the engine. Maybe it's an extra part of it, or maybe that it is just for the turbo. I don't know, but like it does look like it has the little booster, which of course that'll be interesting to see. And of course, as I mentioned before, you can see Batman walking towards it. You get a better look at the suit. That's something I forgot to mention previously. I feel like the only other thing that would bother me with the Batsuit right now is the thing that's around his forearms. I don't even know what that is right now, but it honestly does look weird to me. I don't know what it is. It's probably tools or something. I have no clue. But you can see him at the top of that photo. I think that's the only other thing. But back to the Batmobile. I mean, that just looks rad. I'm not going to lie, because it just looks like, I mean, yeah, it looks like something out of the Fast and Furious. I get it. But still, I just like how it's more simplistic, and to me, it's way more realistic than driving a tank around. And now here is the last photo that I'm going to show in this video, because as I mentioned, I know there's a lot of other photos out there, but I don't want to take the risk of getting my video taken down if I do ones that Warner Brothers doesn't want to get out there. So this is the last photo that I'm going to do, and it's probably the best shot of the Batmobile and the Batman. And I'm not going to lie, when I first saw this photo, I didn't even realize that it was on a street. I honestly thought it was in a warehouse. That's how dumb I was when I first saw this, because I thought like those little pillars or whatever, yeah, I thought it was in a warehouse or something. I didn't even notice the, the stoplights or anything or the street. I honestly thought it was just in a warehouse, but it's like, oh, it's in the streets. So here's a way better shot at the Batmobile, especially the front of it. It's like, yes, it looks very much just like a muscle car, which, like I said, I have no problem with. I really like it because I'm tired of the tank aspect. I like how it's way more simple. And, of course, you have the Batman right beside it looking up, of course, because, that's the really popular thing to do, especially for comic book movies, is have the characters looking up into the sky or whatever. And, yeah, I'm just wondering how that's going to look in the movie. And because one of the other things that I thought of when I saw this Batmobile is like it kind of reminded me of the Watchmen TV show. Because in the Watchmen TV show, Sister Night, for example, her vehicle is literally just like a black Cadillac. I think that's what it is. It's either a black Cadillac or a black Lincoln. And it's like totally blacked out. It's like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. Because it's like, he's just a vigilante. He's not going to be driving around anything fancy. I know he's driven the tank before. But this is just way better. And I just feel like it's way more fitting. Because I guarantee Matt Reeves is going for a very grounded take on it. I mean, I know Nolan was grounded for the most part, but I feel like this is even more grounded because I don't think the gadgets are going to be as high-tech. I don't think any of his vehicles are going to be as high-tech or his suit or anything like that. So I really like that. And, of course, overall, I love the Batsuit. The only things that I'm a little skeptical about right now are the collar and the forearms, what's on the forearms. I don't know what that is. It looks like tools or something. I don't know. And then when it comes to the Batmobile, I really don't have any complaints about it. I honestly don't. I think I really do like everything about it. I know there are people that prefer the bigger versions or the comic book versions, but I'm completely fine with it not being that. So, of course, the Batman does not come out until next year, and I would believe that a trailer would come out. I think that Matt Reeves announced that they're going to the Brazil Comic-Con. So I would think when they go to the Brazil Comic-Con, then they'll release a trailer then. So, yeah, I'm very excited because if you don't know, I mean, you probably do know, I am a huge Batman fan. I love everything about Batman. And I'm very much looking forward to this movie and trilogy because I believe it is supposed to be a trilogy. And I'm very curious about this plot, man, because I've heard that it's a take on The Long Halloween, which The Dark Knight did very briefly, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's an inspiration from The Long Halloween, and I believe also a little bit of Year One. So it's kind of doing two different inspirations. And it's a murder mystery. Who doesn't like a murder mystery? I'm mostly interested in all the villains that are going to be in this. I know there's people that are complaining that, it's too many villains. Please keep in mind now, of course, we haven't had anything officially released, but I have a feeling that most likely most of them will not have that much screen time. I bet most of them won't have more than 10 minutes of screen time, because it's a murder mystery. He's going to be interviewing all these other people. So, because you got Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler, Falcone. Oh, God, I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I think that's it for now. I know that Sarsgaard or whatever, it's Skarsgård or Sarsgaard, I don't remember. People thought he was going to play Two-Face or Mr. Freeze. As of right now, he's just playing a DA. It's not Harvey Dent, as far as we know, but there's a possibility he could be playing Harvey Dent. They're just keeping it a secret right now. So, in all honesty, I am really looking forward to this movie, but I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most in this movie is not Batman, not the Batmobile, not Penguin, because honestly I'm not a fan of the Penguin, but whatever. I think the thing I'm looking forward to the most is the Riddler, okay? I just think, because we all know Jim Carrey, he went a little overboard, just a little bit, and I'm really ready for this dark take on the Riddler, because it sounds like he's supposed to be a little bit like Jigsaw, from the Saw movies, and it's like, I love that because it's just like from the Arkham games. And it's like, I'm really looking forward to that. So, of course, what do you think of the photos, and what are you most looking forward to in the Batman? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. And, of course, as always, I'd love to see you all next time.
If only I could turn